Haha, you already know where we are going with this video topic today. We are talking about a former Montreal Canadien, a guy whom we've made a bunch of videos about in regards to his departure from the Canadiens this offseason, a player who had signed with the Colorado Avalanche, and a guy who is being reunited with one of his former line mates, a line mate who happens to be one of the best players in the entire gosh darn NHL, and Nathan MacKinnon. Let's talk today about MacKinnon's former Halifax Moosehead teammate, Jonathan Drouin. Because when it comes to the departure from Montreal, the arrival in Colorado, there were some more comments that he made at the annual charity golf tournament he has, that kind of illuminate more of the differences and the nuance between these two teams. Now, last time we had talked about Drouin, we went over his entire situation, or what was the last video that we made? Right, we talked about how he spoke out on the Canadiens and MacKinnon, the link with Nathan MacKinnon, and how he's now back with him. We talked last time about the comments that he made where he said that he pretty much wanted to go to Colorado to reunite with his buddy. That's a great story. They had a lot of prosperity together as teammates in the Halifax Mooseheads, and for a guy like Drouin, who definitely has a bit more to prove at the NHL level, this could be the ultimate catalyst for him to get his career back on track. A guy who once was a 53-point player in the NHL has recently dropped down in point production and has been the subject of much criticism from Canadiens fans and journalists. It's been pretty rough, especially for a French guy in Montreal. And so, heading over to Colorado, last time we had talked about how there's a difference in pressure and he's making less money now, so he's not going to be relied upon too much as the top guy, whereas in Montreal he was supposed to be one of the top guys, which sort of fed into the cycle of media negativity surrounding Drouin whenever he would have a bad year or have a bad game, whatever. He was so criticized over the past few seasons, and as a result, you had many Canadiens fans saying, yeah, this could be a really good change of pace for the guy. We then had ourselves some other word throughout this offseason that Drouin actually rejected smaller money deals from other teams, in particular because he wanted to come over to the Colorado Avalanche. He signed a one-year $825,000 contract. This guy had 29 points in 58 games played last year. Do the math over 82 and you have yourselves a player that was legitimately on pace for 41 points. He had half a point a game, and he signed a deal that is just barely over league minimum. Now, sure, a lot of this could be attributed to his unavailability for the Canadiens. He wasn't the healthiest guy out there. He also took some time off from the Habs. He wasn't present when they went to the finals in 2021. But for Drouin, this is a talented playmaker at the NHL level who had signed on for dirt cheap to head over to Colorado and play with MacKinnon. Now, we had ourselves some more comments from his annual charity golf tournament that goes over the situation more, and this article from Colorado Hockey Now, Evan Rawal, has the quotes that we need. Link is going to be in the description if you want to read more about this piece on your own time. But at his annual charity golf tournament on Tuesday, Drouin discussed leaving the Canadiens as well as his move to the Avalanche. Drouin admitted that he and Montreal did discuss a potential extension, but it ultimately did not make sense for either side. The Habs are rebuilding, and Drouin mentioned how important it was for him to go to a winning team. Another factor, though, was the pressure. The spotlight won't be on him in Colorado like it was on the Habs. In Colorado, it's going to be more relaxed. It's not the same place, Drouin said. There's a little less media and a little less stuff going on. The Avs won the Cup 2 years ago, so I'm going to play with a really good team, and I think it will also do me good to play with a team that has a chance to make the playoffs and maybe more. The city there, Nathan, there were several good reasons for me to go there. And you know, that is exactly what I was thinking about when Drouin initially went to Colorado. Hey, not only is he going to a team with connections, but he's going to a team where the pressure is completely deflated. Not to say that the Colorado Avalanche don't have standards and the Canadiens do, but just the media, the fans, the external environment outside the locker room and on the ice. It's a drastically different game in Montreal compared to pretty much anywhere south of the border, especially if you're a hockey player. No kidding about the media, this article writes. On a standard Avalanche practice day during the regular season, there are maybe 8 to 10 media members present. I can't say I've been in the Montreal locker room, but I have to imagine they at least have twice as many media members present every day. It'll be very different in Colorado, and that extends off the ice. Drouin will be a lot more anonymous here. He also talked about his relationship with Nathan MacKinnon and how he was my driver at school. If Nathan didn't get up to go to school, I didn't go to school. He was the one who decided if I went to school in the morning. We spent some great years together at school and at the arena. I'm glad to see him again and play with him again 10 years later. Now, when it comes to the situation, when it comes to the player profile, when it comes to the expectations, the one name that really comes to my mind when I read this article and I see these points being made is former Toronto Maple Leafs superstar Phil Kessel, because he almost went through a pretty similar thing. Super talented player for Toronto, supposed to be one of the top dogs. Sure, you could say that Kessel in Toronto was a lot more consistent and a lot more offensively productive than Jonathan Drouin was for the Canadiens, but there was an equal amount of pressure in Toronto over there because that team wasn't making it past the first round. For a good chunk of their seasons, they weren't even making it into the playoffs. So for Phil Kessel to take the blame on a lot of that front, because he was the main guy, you saw a lot of media members bashing this guy, you saw the memes that came out of it, hot dog man, fat, lazy, Phil Kessel is this and that. There was so much pressure on Kessel, an unsubstantiated amount that was unnecessary too. And so when he got traded to Pittsburgh, which is not the super frontline hockey market like Toronto is, Kessel got a lot less pressure on him. He's going to a team that has other superstars like Crosby, Malkin, Letang. He wins 2 cups, and he's looking better than he's ever been. Maybe not in terms of his gameplay, but in terms of his on-ice demeanor, just the way he's going out there. He's smiling a lot more, he's scoring more points. He grabbed most of his career highs playing with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and then he went to Arizona, stuck around in the desert for a while, then went over to Vegas, won another Stanley Cup, and each time he won the cup, he made his parade held in Toronto. So, Phil Kessel is kind of the exact same story that we had seen here with Drouin, except Kessel was never really disappointing in areas of his career. He was just, I don't know, the guy at the front of the helm when the Maple Leafs were losing and they were still pretty bad. So when it comes to external expectations and media pressure, you could see quite a few similarities between Drouin and Phil Kessel and how they were treated on their Canadian teams. Of course, for Phil Kessel, everything turned out great, and he ended up winning some Stanley Cups here and there, but for Drouin, it remains to be seen whether or not that's going to occur with Colorado this upcoming year. If there was anybody that I'd say that deserves to play with Drouin the most, I would say it's probably Nathan MacKinnon. And if MacKinnon himself is more eager than anything to play with Drouin once more, then who knows what this pairing could be capable of. They were so good together in Halifax. We had talked about this back when the signing was initially made, that there is such a good link. They had such good chemistry together. MacKinnon was a play driver, Drouin was a playmaker, and you just saw these two guys torch the CHL together. It's why in 2013 MacKinnon was first and Drouin was third. It was kind of like that McDavid-Strome situation in 2015. But of course, neither Dylan Strome nor Connor McDavid have won any Stanley Cups since then. Colorado at least has one with MacKinnon. But do they make it another one with Drouin there too? So if you're a Montreal Canadiens fan, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below how Drouin spoke out about the Toronto media, how the situation relates to the Phil Kessel situation from Toronto to Pittsburgh, and what exactly you expect Drouin to accomplish as a member of MacKinnon's line. If Drouin doesn't produce, that's okay. MacKinnon's still there, Rantanen is still there, you have Valeri Nichushkin going out there, hopefully dropping bombs and nukes like you'd probably expect from a guy whose nickname is Nuke. But there's a lot of potential here. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below where you see Drouin fitting into the puzzle. If you're a Colorado Avalanche fan as well, what are your opinions on everything we have talked about today? I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.